Hello, good afternoon. Greeting from Sendam Academy. Welcome to the JEE main problem solving session. So I would request the students who have joined in, please type in your names in the chat box so that I know who all are attending the session. Can all of you see my screen? Can all of you hear me clearly? Okay, great. All right, so we're starting from the first question, and I think most of you have started answering it. Great. So, which of the following is not true? Which of the following is not true for any of the two statements P and Q? Of course, statement 1 is going to be correct. Statement 2 is not correct because it is contradicting De Morgan's law. It is contradicting the De Morgan's law. Okay. So we all know De Morgan's law. Negation of P or Q is equivalent to saying negation of P and negation of Q. So this symbol should not be the symbol of, this should be the symbol of and, not for the symbol of or. Okay, so option number 2 becomes correct in this case. All right, so now let's move on to the next one. Let R be on the real line. Consider the following subsets of the plane of R cross R. So S is a set of ordered pairs x comma y such that y is GIF of x, x belonging to 0 to 4, and T is all ordered pairs x comma y such that x minus y is an integer. Which of the following is true? Please give me your response after stating the question number so that I know which question number you're trying to answer. Hello, good afternoon, Rohan, Aditya, Sanjana. Okay, again, I'll wait for 3 people to respond at least. Okay, so all of you are saying option number 1. Okay, let's check it out. So the options are saying T is equivalence relation on R, but S is not. Of course, you can see if you take an element like 1.2 comma 1, it clearly belongs to S. But the moment you flip the position, that is 1 comma 1.2, this does not belong to S. Okay, the reason being 1 is the GIF of 1.2, but we cannot say 1.2 is the GIF of 1. So this relation is not correct. So the symmetric relation is violated by the set S, and therefore S cannot be an equivalence relation. So the statement which is true is going to be having the fact that S is not an equivalence relation. Now x minus y is an integer, will always be an equivalence relation because it will be reflexive. symmetric, transitive, and hence equivalent. So 1 is correct because it says T is an equivalent solution but on R but not S. So the first one to answer this was Saundarya. Well done. Good. Let's move on to the next one. The complete solution set of mod x minus sine x less than 1 in the interval 0 to pi. Okay. All right. So let's discuss this. So we know that in the interval 0 to pi, your mod of sine x is going to behave as sine x itself, right? And from pi onwards, you can say pi to 2 pi, it will behave as negative of sine x, right? So this is the definition of mod of sine x. So if I take this interval, then in the interval 0 to pi, you would get something like this: 0 less than 1. 0 less than 1 is obviously true. That means all the values in the interval 0 to pi would be your answer. So this is an accepted region. So basically in 0 to pi, all values of x are going to satisfy this given inequality. Now the moment I am between pi to 2 pi, so in the interval where x belongs to pi to 2 pi, this inequality will convert itself to minus of 2 sine x less than 1. That means sine x is less than negative half. Okay, sorry, sine x is greater than negative half. Remember, the inequality sign is going to flip. So when you say sine x is greater than negative half and you're looking from the interval pi to 2 pi, so this is your negative half line, right? And you want your sine x graph to be above that. So it has to be in the zone where this part of the graph is lying. So it has to be above the graph of y is equal to negative half. Okay. So this point here is 7 pi by 6 undoubtedly. This point here is going to be 11 pi by 6. Okay. So I can say in this interval, your solution zone will be from pi to 7 pi by 6. Okay. Union 11 pi by 6 to 2 pi. Right? Now, finally, what I have to do, I have to take the union of 0 to pi with this interval as well. Right? Because there were two cases. This was your first case where you had taken your x between 0 to pi. And this was your second case where you had taken your x between pi to 2 pi. So if you combine it, your answer will turn out to be from 0 to 7 pi by 6 union 11 pi by 6 to 2 pi, which is clearly your option number 3. Option number 3 is going to be correct in this case. And the first one to answer this again was Vaishnavi Deshpande. Very good. Keep it up, Vaishnavi. Let's move on to the next question, which is your fourth question. So we are going at a good rate. It's almost like 3 minutes. 3 minutes per question we are taking almost. Right, Ayantika, correct. Yeah, now again, an easy question. If ax plus by equal to 1 touches the circle x square plus y square is equal to p square, then the locus of a comma b is. Okay. I need one more response before I start solving this. All right. So basically, it's a case where there is a circle of radius p units having a center at the origin, and there is a tangent, and there is a tangent ax plus by equal to 1, which touches the circle. So it's very obvious that the distance of the center from this tangent should be equal to p units. Okay. So the distance of the center from the tangent, that is going to be mod of 1 by under root of a square plus b square, and that should be equal to p. That means a square plus b square is 1 by p square. And if you generalize this by replacing your a with x and b with y, because you are finding the locus of a comma b, you are going to end up getting a circle of radius 1 by p. So option number 4 becomes the right option in this case. Absolutely correct. Again, an easy question. So without much waste of time, we'll go on to the next one. Question number 5. If integral of x times 1 minus x squared to the power of 1/3 into x to the power minus 4 dx is a times x to the power b minus 1 whole to the power c plus k, then which of the following option is correct? So this is how you may write it. 1 minus x square whole is to the power of 1/3 by x to the power 4 dx. This is given to us as a times x to the power b minus 1 whole to the power c plus a constant. Okay, Shantanu says the third option. Let's wait for a few more people to respond. Okay, so Ramcharan thinks differently. He thinks option number 4 is correct. Okay, so mostly people are saying option number 4. Let's check this out. First of all, I can write this expression as x minus x cube raised to the power of 1/3. And let me divide this x to the power 4 into x and x cube. If I introduce this x within the cube root symbol, it will become x minus x cube by x cube whole to the power of 1/3 times 1 by x cube dx. Right? Now this is clearly integral of 1 by x square minus 1 whole to the power 1/3 into 1 by x cube with respect to dx. Right? Now let us do one thing. Let me take 1 by x square minus 1 as t. So if we do that, negative 2 by x cube dx will become dt. That's nothing but dx by x cube will start acting as negative half dt. Right? So this entire integral will convert to negative half t to the power 1/3 dt. So that's going to be negative half t to the power of 4 by 3. Okay. Divided by 4 by 3. So it will become 3 by 4 on top. Okay. Plus c. And if you replace our t back, this is what we are going to get. Okay. So from this expression, it is very clear that I can write 1 by x square as x to the power negative 2 as well. So it is very clear that my a is negative 3 by 8, my b is negative 2, and my c is 4 by 3. Right? So ideally speaking, neither 1 is correct, nor 2 is correct, nor 3 is correct. And let's check 8a plus b plus 3c plus 1. 8a is going to be minus 3. B is going to be negative 2. 3c is going to be 4. And of course, 1 is going to be 1. So when you add a 1, you'll definitely get a 0. So option number 4 is the right option in this case. And the first one to get this correct was, I guess, Ramcharan was the first one to get this correct. Okay. Well done. Very good. Let's now move on to the sixth question. Sixth question says the equation of a circle which cuts the circle given to you on your screen and the lines means pair of straight lines, orthogonally is which of the following? So there is a circle which cuts the given circle as well as these pairs of lines orthogonally. Orthogonally means at 90 degrees. So which could be that possible circle? Okay, got the first response. Sai also backs him up. Anyone else? I need one more person to answer. Now that doesn't mean you'll type anything so that I start solving it. So please try it out. All right, guys. So first of all, just a question in general to all of you that if a line is cutting a circle orthogonally, so let's say this is a line which cuts this circle orthogonally. What is the meaning of that? The meaning is very clear and simple that the line must pass through the center of the circle. Then only it can cut the circle orthogonally. In that case, we actually do not use the word orthogonally, we use the word normal. Orthogonally is generally used when we are talking about two curves. When you're talking about a line and a curve, we use the word normal. And when we talk about two lines being perpendicular, we use the word perpendicular. Anyhow, so there are pair of lines, that means there are two lines and both of them are basically cutting the circle orthogonally, means both are normals to the circle. And that can only happen when the meeting point of these two lines happens to be the center of the circle. So whatever circle I'm going to find out, that the center of that circle must lie at the point of intersection of these two lines, which are collectively expressed by this expression. Correct? Now you can easily find that out because if you take the first and the third term, you get something like this. And you take minus 2 common, you get x minus 1 equal to 0. That means y minus 2 times x minus 1 equal to 0 is the two lines which comprise or which constitute this pair of straight lines. Now this clearly implies that the meeting point has to be 1 comma 2, right? Now, unfortunately, all the options given to us have centers at 1 comma 2. So this is not going to help us to that extent. So we need to now move on to check what should be the radius of that circle. Now, the radius of the circle that we are looking for should be such that it cuts this circle. Okay, so basically the tangent drawn at the point of intersection must pass through the center, right? So basically this line or any one of the lines, from the center of the circle, we are going to draw a tangent to this given circle, right? Because if they're cutting orthogonally, let's say these two circles are cutting orthogonally, then the tangent drawn at the point of intersection, right, must pass through the center of the other, correct? So this line must pass through the center of the required circle. So this circle is required circle, this circle is given circle, correct? Okay, so this point is 1 comma 2, we have already figured out over here. So in order to find the radius, I'm just going to find the length of the tangent drawn from 1 comma 2 to the given circle, that is x square plus y square plus 2x plus 4y minus 4. That length would be under root of S1. So your radius R will be under root of S1, which we call as the power of the point with respect to the circle, right? So under root of S1 means under root of x1 square y1 square 2x1 plus 4y1 minus 4, and your x1 y1 is nothing but 1 comma 2, so that would be 1 plus 4, and this will be 2 plus 8 minus 4, that's going to be root of 11. Okay, so whichever of these circles has a root of 11, that would be your desired circle. So if you see the second option, that is 1 square plus 2 square plus 6, this actually gives you root of 11. So it is satisfied by the second equation and none of the other equations satisfied. So option number 2 becomes the right option. And the first one to answer this correctly was Kushal. Okay, awesome, great. So hope you have recalled through this problem uh, the concept of length of a tangent and when does two circles meet each other orthogonally. So when two circles meet each other orthogonally, the tangent drawn at the point of intersection will pass through their respective centers. So it will pass through C1 and C2 respectively. Okay, so this was the concept which we used. All right, let's move on now to the seventh question for the day. Seventh question says there are 4 points in a plane of which 5 are collinear. So 5 of them are collinear. Barring these 5s, no 3 are collinear. Then the number of quadrilaterals that can be formed using these points. Again, an easy question, you should be able to do this within 1 minute. Yes, guys. Any response? All right. Okay. Option D. Sai says option 3. Okay. Let's discuss this out. Now, if I have to make a quadrilateral, I have to choose all the 4 points in such a way that not more than 2 of them should be collinear, right? So I have 7 of them which are definitely non-collinear, okay, and 5 of them are collinear. I can make a quadrilateral in following ways. I can choose all the 4 points from the non-collinear ones, which will be 7C4 in number, correct? So all the 7 points which are non-collinear, from there I can choose 4 such points and make a quadrilateral. So that will be 7C4 ways. Or it can happen that I can choose 3 points from these non-collinear ones and 1 point from these collinear ones. That will also lead to a quadrilateral. Okay. Third case could be you can choose 2 points from the non-collinear ones, correct? And again 2 points from the collinear one. So that's going to be 5C2. Okay. So these are the only cases that you can form. 7C4 would be 5 into 6 into 7 by 6. That's going to be 35 in number. Okay. And 7C3 will be again 35 into 5. That's going to be 175 in number. And 7C2 is going to be 21 into 10. That's going to be 210 in number. So when you add it, you get 420 quadrilaterals possible, which is clearly your option number 4 that is correct. Right? I thought it was a very simple question and you would answer this within 1 minute. Okay. So great. So first one to answer this was Ram Charan again. Awesome. Great. Let's now move on to question number 8. The first sum of an infinite geometric series is 2 and its sum is denoted by S such that mod of S minus 2 is less than 1 by 10. Then the true set of the range of the common ratio of the series is. Okay. Sai, Soundarya, they have already given the response. Great. So let's discuss this. We all know that the sum of infinite series for this case will be 2 by 1 minus r being the common ratio. So this is less than 1 by 10. So 2 minus 1 by r minus 2 should lie between minus 1 by 10 to 1 by 10. That means 2 by 1 minus r should lie between 2 minus 1 by 10 to 2 plus 1 by 10. That's going to be 19 by 10 to 21 by 10. Right? Now, we all know that if this has to be an infinite series, mod of r has to be less than 1. Correct? That means r has to be a fraction that can be between minus 1 to 1. So 1 minus r will always be a positive term. So let me solve this as two separate inequalities. One is this. Now in this case, I can always write this as 1 minus r is less than 20 by 19. The reason I could do that is because I know 1 minus r is a positive term. Right? That means r should be greater than minus 1 by 19. Okay? In a similar way, I can take 2 by 1 minus r less than 21 by 10, which again means 1 minus r is greater than 20 by 21. So r is going to be less than 1 by 21. And of course, r cannot be 0. Okay? So in this case, in a geometric progression, we can never have the common ratio as 0. So your r should belong to the interval minus 1 by 19 to 1 by 21, excluding 0. R cannot be 0. So obviously, option number 4 is going to be the right option. Simple question. Just was testing your concept of inequalities. That's it. So without much ado, we'll move on to the 9th question. Two equal sides of an isosceles triangle with fixed base 6 centimeter are decreasing at a rate of 3 centimeter per second. How fast is the area decreasing when two equal sides are equal to the base? Okay, I'm getting a mixed response. Kushal says 4. Vaishnavi says option 3. All right, so let's discuss this. So let's say these two equal sides are of length xx each. Okay. And let's say this is my A, B, and C sides, and I drop a perpendicular. When I drop a perpendicular, okay, this is going to be 3. So perpendicular, let's say AD, is going to be under root of x square minus 9. So area of this triangle is half base into height. That's going to be 3 times under root x square minus 9. This is area. And if you want the area to be, how fast is the area decreasing? When two equal sides are equal to the base, that means I want to find dA by dt. So dA by dt will be linked to this expression by 2 under root of x square minus 9 times 2x into dx by dt. So that's going to be 3x by under root of x square minus 9 into dx by dt. So dx by dt is given to us as negative 3 because it is saying that it is decreasing at a rate of 3 centimeters per second. So when we put over here, I get dA by dt as 3x. Now x has to be equal to 6. So 36 minus 9 is going to be 5 into negative 3. Okay. Oh, sorry. It will be equal to 36 minus 9 is going to be 27. Small mistake here. So that's going to be root 27. Root 27 is 3 root 3. Okay. So root 3 and this will go off, giving you the answer as negative 6 root 3 centimeters square per second. So it's already saying decrease. So the negative sign is already accounted for. So option number 4 is going to match the required result. So the first one to get this correct is, I think, Saimir. No, sorry, Kushal. Kushal got this correct. Great. Let's move on to the next one. Question number 10. In a complex plane, the point A and B are at Z1 and Z2. And there's a point P which moves in such a way that mod of Z minus Z1 is twice mod of Z minus Z2. Then the maximum area of PAB. Anyone? Any response? Nobody? So these kind of questions are going to take a bit of your time if you are not aware of the concept here. So guys, all of you would have come across expressions of this nature, right? Mod of this is equal to k, correct? Remember here that if k is equal to 1, it actually, the locus of z is actually going to be a line which is exactly bisecting the join of z1 and z2. So basically, if you join this, then z would be lying on the bisector only if k is equal to 1, right? So z can lie anywhere on this line, right? Because when k is 1, it is just like saying z minus z1 is equal to mod z minus z2. That means the distance of z from z1 has to be equal to the distance of z from z2. That can only be possible if your z is located on the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining z1 and z2. However, if k is not equal to 1, then what happens? It actually results in a circle which we call as the Apollonius circle. Okay, what is this circle? Apollonius circle is basically a circle, in this case, which you'll find that has diameters. Let me draw a circle just to make it more clear to you. So it would be a circle which would pass in such a way that the extremities of this circle, let's say point A and point B, would be in such that A divides Z1 and Z2 in the ratio of k is to 1, right? The same k internally, and B divides this point B, as you can see over here. This B would divide the join of Z1 and Z2 in the ratio of k is to 1 again, but this time externally, in the ratio of k is to 1, but this time externally. This is very important and it saves a lot of time. So right now in my given problem, I can see that z minus z1 mod by z minus z2 mod is equal to 2, right? So A divides z1 and z2 internally in the ratio of 2 is to 1. So this is 2 is to 1. So if I know the coordinates of z1, which is going to be 5 comma negative 2, and z2 coordinates, which is 1 comma 1, can I find out the coordinates of A? Of course we can. We can use the section formula to get the coordinates of A. So that's going to be 2 into 1, 1 into 5, that's 7 upon 3, comma 2 into 1 and 1 into negative 2, that's going to be 0. So A is going to be 7 by 3 comma 0. A is going to be 7 by 3 comma 0. Similarly, we can easily find out the coordinates of point B by using our external division formula. You just have to take your 2 as -2. So it's going to be -2. Okay, so -2 into 1. Again, -2 by -2 plus 1, comma, and again -2, I'm sorry, -2 plus 5. There would be a 5 over there. By mistake, I wrote a 2. I'm sorry, that's a 5. And we'll have a -2 into minus -2 by -2 plus 1. Right? So if I am not wrong, the B coordinates is going to be -3 comma -3 comma 4. Is that fine? So if you found A and B, what is going to be the radius of this circle? AB is the diameter. So what is going to be the radius? Let me find some place to write. So radius would be nothing but half of the distance between A and B, right? So the distance between A and B would be 7 by 3 plus 3 square and 4 square. That's going to be 9. 9 plus 7, 16. 16 by 3, that's 16 square by 3 square plus 16 under root. Let me pull out a 16 out as 4. So inside I will have a 16 by 9 plus 1. That's going to be 5 by 3. So 4 into 5 by 3. That's going to be 20 by 3, and half of that. I'm sorry, I forgot the half everywhere. So half of that would be 10 by 3. Correct? So now you are going to make a triangle with PAB. So P is basically moving. So when do you think your triangle will have the maximum area? When its height is maximum, because base is fixed. Correct? So if you are able to draw a triangle like this, that triangle will have a maximum area. So its height is going to be 10 by 3, and its base is going to be the distance between these 2 points. So I think distance between 5 comma -2 and 1 comma 1 would be under root of 4 square plus under root of 3 square. That's going to be 5. So your answer is going to be half base into height. Half base into height, that gives you 25 by 3, which is clearly option number 2, which is correct. Well, we learned a lot of things over here. In case you have not practiced a lot of problems of this type, let me tell you, this is a commonly seen expression, and it will always result into an Apollonius circle whose diametrical opposite ends would be lying at points A and B, where A divides the join of Z1 and Z2 in the ratio of k:1 internally, and B divides the join of Z1 and Z2 in the same ratio k:1 but externally. So the moment I know this concept, I could actually find out the points A and B, and thereafter I could get the, you can get the radius by halving the distance between A and B. And for the area of this triangle to be maximum, since the base is fixed, its height has to be maximum, and height can at the max be the radius of this Apollonius circle, and therefore the result. Right? So good learning in case you were not aware of this. So none of you could answer this question. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next one, which is question number 11 for the day. For the system of equations, as you can see on your screen, which of the following is false? Which of the following is false? Okay, so mostly, I don't know why all of you are saying 1, because if you see, if your P is equal to Q is equal to R, this thing will become 0, 0, 0, right? That means it will result into a system of homogeneous equation, right? And homogeneous equations are always known to have a solution, either the trivial solution that we all know as x equal to 0, y equal to 0, or z equal to 0, or they have infinitely many solutions. So the fact that they have solution makes them consistent. So this statement can never be false. This is correct statement, because if it is consistent, that means it has a solution, right? So when P is equal to Q is equal to R, it will have a solution. So this is a true statement. So my question is, when is this statement false? So please do not get confused here. It's very important. All homogeneous system of linear equations are consistent. So one definitely cannot be your answer. Okay. Saundarya says option number 4. Okay, again, A equal to B equal to C is not the decider, because if these numbers are all 0, okay, you can have infinitely many solutions for that. So it can be consistent even in case of fourth. But if you look at option number 2, if you make your A, B, C equal and your P, Q, R are distinct, okay, then what will happen? It will actually result in, let's say if you take P, Q, R as distinct, so it will actually, let's say I take A, B, C all equal to 1. Okay, so at one case I will get something like this, at another case I will get something like this, at another case I will get something like this. Okay. Now, unless until P minus Q is equal to R minus P is equal to P minus R, only in that case both will represent the same equation, else they would represent parallel planes, right? If they represent parallel planes, then there will be no solution. Then in that case it can become inconsistent. So it would be wrong to say that it is consistent for all such cases, right? So I could figure out a case where in this case it would be non-consistent or inconsistent, whatever you call it. So this option number 2 I do not agree with. So this is a false statement. So 2 becomes your right answer, because they're asking us which of the statement is false. So absolutely, I think Ram Charan gave the answer first. Okay. So guys, be very, very clear with your idea of solution of system of linear equations and what conditions are responsible for consistency and inconsistency. Right. So without much ado, we'll move on to the next question, which is the 12th question. A simple one. I think you would have come across this question before as well. Oh, no worries, Purik. Okay, so Ganesh has responded. Okay, so mostly people are going for option number 2. So let's look into this. First of all, we can write our dy by dx as xy upon x square plus y square. It's a clear-cut case of a homogeneous differential equation. So let me take y as vx, implies dy by dx will be v plus x dv by dx. So when you make these substitutions, we get v plus x dv by dx is equal to v square by 1 plus v square. So, sorry, v by 1 plus v square. So let me take the v on the other side. So this v, let me bring it to the other side. Okay. So this will become negative of v cube by 1 plus v square. This is x dv by dx. Right? So we'll get 1 plus v square by v cube dv is negative dx by x. Let's integrate both sides. Okay. So this one will give me integration of 1 by v cube. Integration of 1 by v cube is going to be negative 1 by 2v square plus integration of 1 by v is going to be ln v minus ln x plus c. Okay. That's like saying minus x square by 2y square plus ln y by x is equal to negative ln x plus c. Right? Now we can use this initial value condition that when x is 1, y is 1. So when x is 1, y is 1 gives me 0 is equal to negative ln x. Oh, sorry, this is also going to be 1. So your c is going to be negative half. Okay. So putting back over here, I get minus x square by 2y square plus ln y by x is equal to negative ln x minus half. Now they're saying that when x is x naught, your y is e. So if I substitute my x with x naught and y with e, by the way, I can write this as ln y minus ln x. That will get cancelled over there. Okay. In this case, this is going to be e and ln e is going to be 1. So this I can replace with 1. Okay. 1 goes on the other side. It becomes negative 3 by 2. Negative negative gone, 2 gone. So x naught square is equal to 3e square. So x naught is going to be root 3e. In fact, plus minus root 3e. So one of the values they should write x naught can be plus root 3e, which is option number 2, which is correct. Okay, absolutely correct. The first one to answer this was Ritvik. Next is your question number 13, which says if f of x is this function, then which of the following is correct? Okay. All right. So let's do this question. So derivative of this, I can simply follow product rule. Now, if this is 0, first of all, we can take e to the power 2x minus 1 common. Okay. So that would leave us with 2x minus 2 plus x square minus 2x plus 1. Okay. So e to the power 2x minus 1, and this will give me x square minus 1 equal to 0. So definitely f dash 1 is going to be 0. Correct? So if I put 0, I get 2 points. One is plus minus 1. Hope I've done this calculation correctly. So let me just quickly check this up. So x square minus 2x plus 1. So goes off, it becomes x square minus 1. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Oh, there's an into 2 as well. Into 2 as well. So there's a slight error over here. So if I have to differentiate e to the power 2x minus 1, a factor of 2 will definitely come inside. So that would make it 2x minus 2 plus 2x square minus 4x plus 2. Right. So that would give you actually 2x square minus 2x. Correct? But anyhow, when I put this to 0, I get two critical points. One is x equal to 1, other is x equal to 0. Okay. Now let me make the analysis of the nature of these critical points through the wavy curve sign scheme. Now this is always positive, right? This term will always be positive. So if I draw the wavy curve for 2x square minus x, that means I draw the wavy curve for x into x minus 1. This will be positive, negative, positive, right? So at 1, you see that the curve is coming from negative slope to positive slope. Negative slope to positive slope, that means there is a formation of a minima there. Okay. So of course, f dash 1 cannot be less than 0. So this is a wrong option. Now, 0 is a point from where it's coming from positive slope to negative slope. Correct? So it is a point of maxima. In a point of maxima, the double derivative is going to be negative. So 4 is also not correct. And of course, -1 is not a point of extrema, so 1 is also not correct. And of course, 2 is going to be correct because we figured this out. Now, why I'm doing all these things is because if they ask this in a multiple option correct question, you should be aware of all the possibilities. But since you know here there is only one option correct, that's why you can save your time the moment you realize that x -1 is appearing as a factor for this. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next question now. The mean and variance of n observations x1, x2 till xn are 5 and 0. So x bar is 5 and variance is 0. Summation of xi square is 400. Find the value of n. You may expect one statistics question to be asked in your JEE main. However, it's a very easy chapter, but many people ignore this because they don't find it interesting enough. But it's very scoring. So mathematical reasoning and statistics, please do revisit the formulas, at least the basic ones which you have in your NCERT textbook. So this is your question number 14. Okay. All right. So in this case, it is a very easy question. We all know that the variance formula is 1 by n summation xi square, okay, minus the mean square. And this is given to us as 0, right? So 1 by small n summation xi square is going to be 400 minus 5 square is going to be 0. So n is going to be 400 by 25, which is 16. It's a hardly 10-second question. Okay, so please be aware of your formulas, all type of formulas. There are actually 4 formulas for finding the variance or the standard deviation. One of them is the one which involves the summation of the square of the data itself, which is this formula in front of your screen. Next, question number 15 for the day. Okay. Anybody else? So far, only Purvik has responded. Okay, so in this case, first of all, we'll go for f of 1 by x. When you say f of 1 by x, your upper limit is just going to be replaced with 1 by x. Now, if I see the options are all in the limit 1 to x, 1 to x. So what I'll do is I'll put an obvious substitution. Let 1 by x be, let's say, u. Okay, that means x is 1 by u, which means dx is going to be negative 1 by u square du. So in that situation, your entire expression becomes ln of 1 by u by 1 plus 1 by u into negative 1 by u square du. Correct? Okay. Sorry. In fact, I've put t as 1 by u, not x. T as 1 by u. Okay. So if you simplify this expression, you get Okay, by the way, limits will be 1 by 1 to 1 by 1 by x, which is going to be x again. So it's 1 by x negative ln u. This will become 1 plus u into minus 1 by u square into u. Right? So negative negative will take care of itself. So it's going to be 1 by x ln u by u1 plus u du. Now there is nothing in the name. You can replace your u back with t. So it's going to be ln t by t 1 plus t dt, and that's going to match with your option number 2. Okay. However, if you treat this as your multiple options correct question, okay, then you should always check one of the 3 and 4, because this cannot be the possibility. Okay. So always see the different types of questions linked in the multiple option correct. So here you can see they're also inquiring about f of x plus f of 1 by x. Okay, so let's try that out. So having figured out that 2 is correct, I'm just going to spend some time verifying whether any one of 3 and 4 is correct or not. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this up. So f of x plus f of 1 by x is going to be 1 to x ln t by 1 plus t plus ln t by t times 1 plus t dt. Okay, if you take ln t by 1 plus t common, it becomes 1 plus 1 by t, which is 1 plus t by t. That cancels off 1 plus t, 1 plus t. Now it becomes a simple integral to do, where we can take ln t as, let's say, z, then 1 by t dt will become dz. Okay, so the limit of integration will become 0 to ln of x, right? And this becomes z dz, which is going to be z square by 2. So your answer is going to be ln of x square by 2. So neither option 3 matches, neither option 4 matches. So only option 2 is going to be the right one. And hence only, I think, Purvik was the first one to give the correct answer for that. Okay. So we'll now move on to question number 16. This is a binomial theorem chapter, especially related to the properties of binomial coefficients. Okay. Yeah, so we have done this question many times. So if you expand this term, you get C0 plus C1x plus C2x square, C3x cube, C4x 4 on the way till Cn xn, right? And if you write the expansion of 1 plus x to the power n, we get C0 x to the power n, Cn x to the power n minus 1. C2 x to the power n minus 2, C3 x to the power n minus 3, C4 x to the power n minus 4, and so on till we reach Cn. Okay. Now we actually looking for the the sum of these series, and this series is obtained when you see that these two terms actually multiply. So C1 C0 C2 is obtained when these two terms multiply. Similarly, C1 C3 is obtained when these two terms multiply. And similarly, C2 C4 is obtained when these two terms multiply. You can see that in all these cases, C1 C2 sorry C0 C2 C1 C3 C2 C4 etc., it forms the coefficient of x to the power of n minus 2, right? It comes along with x to the power n minus 2. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the coefficient of x to the power n minus 2 in the multiplication of these two terms, which is nothing but 1 plus x to the power 2n, right? Which is obvious. It's 2n cn minus 2. That's nothing but 2n factorial by n minus 2 factorial n plus 2 factorial. And we also know that in general, if basically this is what is happening, cr plus 1, c2, cr plus 3, etc., then in that case, my formula becomes 2n factorial by n minus r factorial n plus r factorial. So it's very important that you know this so that you can save a lot of time. If you know this, you can do this within 2 seconds. So option number 2 is going to be the right option. Okay, great. We'll now talk about the next question, which is question number 17. Can you see the screen now? स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो रहा। ठीक है, क्या स्क्रीन शेयरिंग चल तो रही, यू आर स्क्रीन शेयरिंग स्क्रीन पॉइंट। तुमने नए वाले यूट्यूब से चालू किया क्या? Choose Chrome would like to share content of your screen to what your application. कैमरा ऑफ कर रहा हूँ। थोड़ा स्लो है। Yeah, now I can see the screen, I guess. I can see the screen, I guess. Sir, there is something here. Are you able to see the screen, guys? Yeah, now I think some movement has started to happen. Uh, wait. Yeah. Okay, so Saundarya says 17, option 2. Okay. All right, so let's discuss this. So first of all, I can say that if x plus y plus z is equal to a, that means mod of x plus y plus z is going to be mod a. Mod a is going to be 2, right? So if you square this, it's going to be 2 square, correct? And if I expand this, I'm going to get mod x square plus mod y square mod z square plus twice of x dot y dot z dot x, that's going to be 4. Okay, and since x, y, z are unit vectors, each of them are going to be 1 1 each, so I can conclude that x dot y dot z dot x is going to be 3 by 2. Sorry, 1 by 2, not 3 by 2. I'm sorry. So it's going to be 1 by 2. Yeah, is that fine? Okay, now if you look at the options are all hinting towards how are the dot products of these unit vectors related to one another. That means first one is basically trying to hint whether y dot z is 0 or not. Second option is just trying to hint whether y dot b is 0 or not. Third option sees whether x dot y is positive or not. Fourth option is like whether x dot z is negative or not. So basically, it's all about knowing the values of these x dot y dot z, and z dot x from this expression. So we'll try to tackle it one by one. So first of all, from this expression, if I take the dot product with respect to a, because I've been given information about a dot x and a dot y, I would get a dot x plus a dot y plus a dot z is equal to 2. Is equal to 2 dot 2. 2 into 2, which is 4. So let me write 4 over here. Okay. Now, does this give us any information about any one of these required options? Okay. So we know that first a dot x, a I can write it as x plus y plus z. So a dot x is given to us as 3 by 2. So this is not helping us out in any way. So I am going to just erase this off. So this gives you x dot x, which is mod of x square, x dot y plus x dot z is equal to 3 by 2. That means x dot y plus x dot z is going to be 3 by 2 minus 1, which is going to be half. So these two expressions I know, which clearly implies y dot z is going to be 0. Okay. That means y and z are perpendicular to each other. That's obvious. So option number 1 cannot be correct because they're asking us which statement is false. So statement 1 is true. So it's not going to be the correct option. Right? In a similar way, I know that a dot y is equal to 7 by 4. So if I take the dot product with y, I should get 7 by 4. That means x dot y plus y dot z is equal to 3 by 4. So we already know x dot y plus y dot z plus z dot x, which is equal to half. So from here it is evident that z dot x would be half minus 3 by 4. Right? Half minus 3 by 4 is going to be negative 1 by 4. So the angle between Z and X has to be obtuse. Therefore, option 4, which says angle between X comma Z is obtuse, is a right statement, and hence this also cannot be my answer. Okay. Now, I haven't yet used this particular expression yet. So we all know the vector triple product. So when we say A cross B cross C, right? What is the formula for that? A dot C times B vector minus A dot B times C vector, right? So in this case, I can write this as negative of Z cross X cross Y. Okay. Let me make some space for myself. Let me use this space over here. Yeah. So this would be, if you expand this, it's going to be Z dot Y times X. Okay. Minus X dot Z times Y is equal to negative of B, we can say here. Right? Okay. Now Z dot Y, how do I get the value of Z dot Y? I think we figured out the value of Z dot Y earlier. That was 0 actually, because they were perpendicular. So 0 and X dot Z also was negative 1/4. Okay. So this gives us minus B vector as 1/4 of Y vector, which implies Y vector is parallel to B vector. So Y cannot be perpendicular to B. So in this case, option number 2 becomes our correct answer because it is false. Right? Okay. So we need not look any further. So option number, yeah, by the way, we can also find out X dot Y. The moment we know Y dot Z, Y dot Z was 0. Z dot X was negative of 1/4. I can use this to find my X dot Y. Okay, so X dot Y will now become 3/4, which is a positive quantity, and hence the angle between X and Y should be acute. So option number 3 is also a correct statement. So 3 also cannot be my answer in case we are actually solving a multiple option correct question. So option number 2 is the right option, and yes, Saundarya Purvik, you are correct. Let's now move on to the next question, which is question number 18. We need to find integral of ln under root of this whole thing is under the ln. Okay, so ln is operating on the whole thing. Okay. Wow. So most of you are going with option number 3. Chalo, let's discuss this. First of all, let me call this as I, and I'm going to apply the King's property on this integral. So when I do that, I get I is equal to integral from 0 to 4 ln of, replace x with 4 minus x. So that's going to give you under root of 4 minus x minus 2. Okay, that's going to be 2 minus x square plus 4. And this is going to be 4 minus x minus 2, again going to be 2 minus x. Okay. So since this is subjected to the square, you can actually rewrite this as x minus 2 whole square plus 4. But here I will have to have a negative sign. Right? Now the obvious step that comes in our mind is, let's try to rationalize this term on in the inside of ln term. So you would get x minus 2 whole square plus 4 plus x minus 2. Okay. And here you will have x minus 2 whole square plus 4 negative x minus 2 whole square. So this and this will get cancelled off. Okay. So this will leave you with I is equal to 0 to 4 ln 4 dx minus 0 to 4 ln x minus 2 square plus x minus 2 dx. This is I again. So 2i is equal to 0 to 4 ln 4. That's going to be 4 ln 4. Correct? Drop the factor of 2. So I will be 2 ln 4, which is again 4 ln 2. So option number 3 becomes the right option in this case. So well done, guys. All of you have answered correctly. Let's move on to the 19th question. Okay, Vaishnavi. All right, so let's say the roots are alpha and beta. So you want the sum of the squares of the roots to be least. So this should be least. Okay. So we already know that alpha square plus beta square, you can actually express it as alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 alpha beta. So alpha plus beta whole square will be 4a minus 6 whole square minus 2 alpha beta is going to be plus 2 times 4a plus 4. Okay, you want this expression to be least, right? So if you want this expression to be least, you can use the derivative of this with respect to a. That would be a faster, or you could complete the perfect square with respect to a. So when we do that, we get 2 times 4a minus 6 times 4 plus 8 is equal to 0. That's, let me just check if everything is fine. So 2 times 4a minus x is 8. Okay, so in this case, I would get 4a minus 6 plus 1 is equal to 0. So 4a minus 5 is 0. That means a has to be 5 by 4. Okay, and since this is a quadratic expression in a, it has to be opening upwards. So opening upwards will have a minimum only. It cannot be a maxima point. So no need to do a double derivative test. So option number 2 becomes the right option in this case. I think most of you got this. Let's take up the next question, which is the 20th question. So there is a function defined like this. Which of the following is false? Again, focus on the question. They're asking you which of them is false. Okay. So these kind of problems are best solved by plotting graphs. So for x greater than equal to 0, you have two functions. One is x, another is x square. So I will draw them in different colors. Let's say x is this line. Okay. And x square is like this. Okay. And when x is less than 1, but we have to take the minimum of the two. Minimum of the two means the part of the graph which is the minimum most. So we'll have this part and then this part. Okay. Similarly, for the right hand side, x square minus 1 graph would be like this. Correct. And y is equal to 2x graph will be like this. Correct. Again, we have to take the the maximum of the two. So maximum of the two would follow this graph and then this graph. Right. So ultimately, your figure is going to be obtained like this. Right. Now, this point is clearly going to be 1. And there is a kink getting formed over here. So it is not differentiable at x equal to 1. So the fact that it is differentiable at x equal to 1 is a false statement. So this is my correct question answer. By the way, we'll just quickly run through other options. This cannot be my right option because it is true. It's continuous at 0. It is not differentiable at exactly 3 points. That is also correct, but because you can see that it is not differentiable here. It is not differentiable here. And of course at 1. So 3 points are there. So this is also a correct statement. So cannot be my answer. It is continuous everywhere. That's correct. So this also cannot be my answer. So option number 2 is only the wrong statement and hence the right option. Well done. So we'll now move on to the next question. Question number 21. Find the area bounded by y is equal to under root of 5 minus x square and y equal to mod of x minus 1. Yes. So Rohan has responded. So this is the graph for the given scenario. Note that when they say y is equal to under root of 5 minus x square, we cannot make the full circle. We only have to take that part of the circle which has got y as positive. Okay. Mod x minus 1 is the graph of mod x, shifted 1 units to the right. So we can just take a shortcut. We can see that there are two small triangles formed over here, right? So let's say this triangle, let us find out the area of this triangle. Let's say I call it T1 triangle and T2 triangle. Okay. So for finding the area of the T1 triangle, I would need to know the x and the y coordinates of this point. So I can say under root of 5 minus x square. This line is going to be y equal to 1 minus x. This line is going to be y equal to x minus 1. So let's try to compare this. So 5 minus x square is 1 plus x square minus 2x. That's going to give you 2x square minus 2x minus 4 equal to 0. That's x square minus x minus 2 equal to 0. This could be factorized as x minus 2 into x plus 1 equal to 0. and this has to be x equal to -1 point. Okay, so this is -1. Okay, and this, if I solve it, 5 minus x square is x square minus 2x plus 1. I will get 2x square minus 2x minus 4 equal to 0. That's x square minus x minus 2 equal to 0. Same equation we'll get, in fact. So the other root, which is x equal to 2, is the one which is to be used over here. So x equal to 2 over here. Now this triangle T1, the area would be half base into height. Now the moment you put x as minus of 1, the y value is going to be 2. And here if I put x as 1, the y value is going to be 1. So area of T1 is half 2 into 2, which is 2. Area of T2 is half into 1 into 1. That's going to be half. So these two areas have to be subtracted. That means I need to subtract 2 plus half, that is 5 by 2, from the area within the circle. So for area within the circle, I can directly use my integration. So I'll just erase this part. Integration from -1 to 2. Okay. Integration of -1 to 2 of under root 5 minus x square dx. That's going to be x under root x by 2 5 minus x square plus 5 by 2 sine inverse sine inverse x by root 5. Is that fine? Okay. So if you substitute 2, yeah, if you substitute 2, you will get 1 into 1, and this will become 5 by 2 sine inverse 2 by root 5. Correct? And if you substitute a -1, you get a minus half. This will again be 2. Okay. And it will give you minus 5 by 2 sine inverse 1 by root 5. Okay. So when you open the brackets, you already get 1 plus, and this side will give you again a 1. Okay. And you'll have 5 by 2 sine inverse 2 by root 5 plus 5 by 2 sine inverse 1 by root 5. Is that fine? So let me make some space for myself. Yeah. So 2 plus 5 by 2, you can use the formula of sine inverse x plus sine inverse y for this. That's going to be sine inverse x into under root of 1 minus 1 by 5. That's going to be 4 by 5. So it will be 2 by root 5 again. Okay. Plus 1 by root 5 into 1 by root 5. Okay. So that's going to be 4 by 5 plus 1 by 5. That's going to be 1. So that's 2 plus 5 by 2 into pi by 2. And you subtract the 5 by 2 from here. So it's 5 pi by 4 minus half. That's 5 pi minus 2 by 4. That's option number 3 is going to be correct. So a bit of formula that is used over here from inverse trigonometry. That's sine inverse x under root 1 minus y square plus y under root 1 minus x square. Okay, great. So most of you got this correct. So we'll move on to the next one. That's a question from probability, question number 22. Please read the question very carefully. Okay. See, if you read this question, a coin is tossed 10 times and the outcomes are listed. HI be the event that ith outcome is a head. And AM be the event that the list contains exactly M heads. So when you toss a coin 10 times, you get exactly M heads in that. That is your AM. Okay. HI is basically the probability of getting the ith outcome as a head, which is very simple. That's going to be half, right? Any outcome head is half because it's a fair coin. But what is PAM? So if you want exactly M heads to come, that means 10 minus M tails should be there, right? So of course you will say 10 cm, half to the power of M and half to the power of 10 minus M. Correct? So in all the possibilities, this is going to be 10 cm, half to the power of 10. So I've done almost 60% of your solution here. After that, you proceed. I think Rohan and Ramcharan have already responded to this. All of you, please remember that if an event is independent, then the product, let's say A and B are independent, then the product of A into PA into PB is the probability of A intersection B is the product of probability of A and probability of B. So this is when your A and B are independent events. Okay, so if I say what is the probability of HI intersection AM. That means you want your ith outcome to be head, and you want exactly M heads to appear. That means if ith outcome is known to be head, that means the remaining 9 throws should have given me M minus 1 heads. Correct? So if the ith outcome is the head, that means remaining 9 throws would have given me M minus 1 heads. Correct? So probability for that to happen would be choosing any M minus 1 throws from the 9, which will give you a head. That's going to be this. And the ith throw, which is going to be a head, is going to be half. That's nothing but 9cm minus 1 into half to the power of 10. Correct? If you want this to be independent, that means this expression, that is 9cm minus 1 into half to the power 10, it should be the product of this and this separately. So 10cm half to the power of 10 into half. So I think we can cancel off this term from both the sides. So 9c, let me make some space. So 9cm minus 1 is half times 10cm. Correct? Right? So I can use this formula. NCR is n by r into n minus 1 CR minus 1. So I can use here 10 by m into 9cm minus 1 is equal to 9cm minus 1. So this and this gets cancelled. So I finally get 5 by m is equal to 1. So m has to be 5. So A in independent of I, A5 will be independent with anything. Correct? So A5 is independent of any event. So this option 3 will be correct. Okay? It is independent of I. I can be anything. So only dictating factor is the 5, which is only present in option 3. So unfortunately, nobody could give the right answer to this. Which part, Purvik, you did not understand? See, I'll repeat this the entire process once again. First of all, PAM is clear. That means if you want to get exactly M heads out of 10 throws, it will be a case of binomial distribution. Correct? And getting a head on the ith throw would be just half. That's also understood. So PAM and PHI are clear. Okay. Now what about PHI intersection AM? That means you want the ith throw to be head as well as you want M heads to appear in total out of 10 times that you throw. So if you have already account for one head in the ith throw, that means the remaining 9 throws should have resulted into M minus 1 heads. So this is what I have done. The remaining 9 throws should have resulted in M minus 1 heads. Not exactly this. It is without the half expression. Okay. This expression. And this half is because you want the ith throw to give you a head. So again, a multiplication of half is required. So the first part deals with getting M minus 1 heads in 9 throws. And the last half denotes getting a head on the ith. Some ith. Ith can be anywhere in between. Okay. So this expression together should be the product of these two separately. So I solved them, got the value of M. So they would be independent only under the situation when M is 5. Great, great. So let's now move on to the next question. That's question number 23. Okay, so most of you are going with 1. So let's discuss this. So if I have to find the inverse of this, okay, we all know that we can use the substitution x equal to cos of, let's say, theta. Okay, but remember, the moment you say your x lies in the interval -1 to -half, right, your theta will actually belong to the interval 2 pi by 3 to pi, right? So 3 theta will belong to the interval 2 pi to 3 pi. So when I make this substitution over here, I get 4 cos cube theta minus 3 cos theta, which clearly is the formula for cos of 3 theta, right? Correct? Which is nothing but saying now be careful about the intervals of x. Okay, let's say I want to take cos inverse on both the sides. I take inverse on both the sides. Now be very careful here, because your 3 theta is not in the principal value branch. It is in the branch where your x is between 2 pi to 3 pi. And you would remember the graph of cos inverse cos theta graph versus theta. It's like this: 0, 2 pi, 3 pi. So you are actually dealing with this branch. You are actually dealing with this branch. Correct? And this branch equation is going to be x minus 2 pi or theta minus 2 pi, whatever you can call it. So this is going to give you 3 theta minus 2 pi as your answer. Right? That's cos inverse y. And cos inverse y is 3 theta. 3 theta means 3 cos inverse x minus 2 pi. Correct? So let me take the 2 pi on the other side. I have to make x the subject of the formula. So it becomes 2 pi plus cos inverse y. So cos inverse x will be 2 pi by 3 plus 1/3 cos inverse y. So you can take cos on both the sides freely. So your answer will be this, and this is your f inverse y. So f inverse x is going to be cos 2 pi by 3 plus 1/3 cos inverse x. And to the surprise of all of you, option number 4 is going to be correct. Okay, so I think after Ramcharan, people started realizing that option 4 is correct and not 3. So these values should not be ignored when you are dealing with inverse trigonometric functions. They are very, very sensitive to the interval of x that you are dealing with. Okay, so this question is an eye opener to most of you. Please do not take inverse trigonometric functions very lightly. They are very sensitive to the interval of x in which you are working with. Next, question number 24. Okay, undefined. This is, by the way, minus 2. Now please change your answer. Oh, now everybody started taking domain very seriously, huh? In the last question, what had happened? Okay, fine. So let us first make dy by dx the subject of the formula over here. So it's x cube minus 2x square minus x plus 2 is equal to f of x times x square minus 4. Okay. So I can say that f of x is actually x cube minus 2x square minus x plus 2 by x square minus 4. Okay. Now the moment you put a 2, you would realize that it's actually giving you 0 by 0, right? So 8 minus 8 minus 2 plus 2. Okay. But 2 is a part of the domain because I'm just excluding negative 2. So there has to be a value for 2. And that value has to be nothing but the limit of this function as x tends to 2. Correct? And for that, I can factorize this. Okay. Cancel out a factor of x minus 2 from both the places. And the moment we put 2, we get 3 by 4. That's option number 2 that is correct. Again, none of you got it correct. Surprisingly. Is that fine? Did you find your mistakes? Okay. Great. So let's move on to the next one. That's question number 25. So there is a function from R to R which satisfies this functional equation. That is f of x into f of y minus f of xy is equal to x plus y for all x and y belonging to real numbers. F of 1 is given to be positive. H of x is the product of f of x and f inverse x. Then the length of the longest interval in which the function h of sine x plus cos x is strictly decreasing. Yes, guys, any idea? Anyone? First, the full focus should be on getting your function itself. Find the function, and when you know the function, you can always find its inverse, and then you would know your h of x. Okay, Sai has come up with one answer. Anyone else? Okay, so see here, first of all, in order to figure out what is my f of x, I would like to first find out what is the value of f of 1. So let's put x and y both as 1 in this. So f of 1 square minus f of 1 is equal to 2. Right? Okay. So this gives me a quadratic in f of 1. So let's say k is f of 1. So it gives you quadratic k square minus k minus 2 equal to 0, which is factorizable. And this is factorizable as x minus 2 times x k plus 1, that's 0. So k value is 2 or k value is negative 1, but since they have given that f of 1 is positive, this value is rejected. So f of 1 is going to be 2. Now let us do one thing. Let's put x as 1. Sorry, x as sorry, let's put y as 1. Let's put y as 1 and let x be as it is. So f of 1 minus f of x is equal to x plus 1. So f of 1 is already 2. So 2f of x minus f of x is equal to x plus 1. That means f of x is going to be x plus 1. Right? This is a very big achievement for us because now we know f of x. So f inverse x is also very simple. That's going to be x minus 1. Right? So the product of f of x into f inverse x, that's your h of x, is going to be x square minus 1. This is something which is important. Okay. Now in this function, if you put your x itself as sine x plus cos x, that means this will give you sine x plus cos x whole square minus 1, and I can actually write that as sine of 2x. Correct? Now they're asking you which is the longest interval in which sine 2x is decreasing. Okay, so sine 2x, if I just draw the graph of sine 2x, any interval you can draw. Okay, you can see that sine 2x, let's say I take this as pi by 4. Okay, this will be pi by 2, this will be 3 pi by 4. So the longest interval in which you will find it decreasing will be from, let's say I take an example, 3 pi by 4 to pi by 4 interval. That's going to be of length pi by 2 itself. So option number 2 is going to be correct in this case. Is that fine? So yeah, now I think Sai Mihir got the right answer. Okay, great. So we'll now move on to the next one. That's question number 26. This is a single integer type question. If x plus y plus 1 equal to 0 is a common tangent to the parabola y square is equal to 4x and x square is equal to lambda y, these two curves, this is a common tangent, then find the value of lambda. So please type in your answer in your chat box. Okay, Sai says 4. Okay, so mostly people are going for option 4. So let's check this out. So if this is a tangent to this, of course, let's take the fact that we are trying to solve these two simultaneously. So when we solve them simultaneously, ideally I should be getting a quadratic in let's say let's try to make a quadratic here in x. So y I'm going to replace with -1 -x. So I'm getting x square plus lambda x plus lambda equal to 0. So if this is a common tangent, this must always give me the discriminant as 0. Discriminant means b square minus 4ac should be equal to 0. So lambda can either be 0 or lambda can be 4. Now if lambda is 0, this actually becomes the y-axis. Okay. Now this cannot be a tangent to the y-axis because it is definitely crossing y-axis. So lambda has to be 4. So very clear cut option, the answer is going to be 4. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. That's sorry, question number 27. Yes, done. So it's pretty simple. If the same vector x is perpendicular to three vectors simultaneously, means A, B, C should be coplanar. Okay, that means the scalar triple product should be 0. So absolutely, that was a simple question. Should have not taken you more than 2 seconds to answer this. Next is question number 28. A circular sector is formed by a thread of length L. What is the ratio of the maximum area of the sector to maximum area of the rectangle formed by the same thread? 2 plus means slightly greater than 102. Yes, yes, it's an integer type. Okay, I think you're taking a lot of time in this. So first of all, the area of the sector, let's say I consider that this sector of radius r. Okay. We know that half r square theta is the area of the sector. So we also know the fact that the total length of the wire will be equal to 2r plus r theta. So I can say it's half r square. In place of theta, I can write it as this, which is half r times L minus 2r. Is that fine? Okay. So if I differentiate this with respect to, this is my area of the sector. If I differentiate this with respect to r, I should get 0. So that would give me half L minus 4r equal to 0. That means r has to be L by 4. Right? If r has to be L by 4, that means theta has to be uh, L minus L by 2 divided by L by 4. Right? That's going to be 2 radians. Okay. So this will become, area will become half r square, that is L square by 16 into 2. That's going to be L square by 16 itself. Okay. And if you want the rectangle to have a maximum area, we all know that it has to be a square. A square is basically a rectangle with maximum area. So in this case, it will be again L square by 16. So they're asking you what is the ratio. Ratio is going to be 1 in this case. Is that fine? So guys, 2 more questions are there. I would just leave them for your homework. Not very difficult ones. One is the limit question, other is a shortest distance between skew lines question. So I would leave them as your homework. So we'll call this session end. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming online. I think on 2nd of April, most of you would be having your board exams. So there would not be any class on those days. Okay. And in case you have any doubt or you want to solve more mock papers, do connect with us. Okay. Thank you so much. Over and out from my side. Have a good day and best of luck.